and giving up your time to chat to us. I really appreciate it.
That's no problem at all.
Lauren, can you tell me a little bit about yourself, how you got into teaching TEFL and where you're at in the TEFL industry now?
Yes, I can. So I first got into teaching TEFL was I moved from Australia to Czech Republic to work as a snowboard instructor. And that's a kind of a seasonal sport, and there's nothing to do in the summer. But I kind of got chased down the street. People were asking me to teach them English, and I had no idea how to teach English. But then I got a job that said no English experience necessary. So I kind of learned the hard way, and I just was thrown into the classroom with no experience whatsoever, no idea, but just, yeah, I've got this, I can do this. It can't be so hard. And then after that, then I decided that I'll go and get my TEFL certification because it was something that I enjoyed. So.
Great. And Lauren, well, I suppose that really covers your motivation to be a TEFL teacher. That wasn't your plan in the beginning, but you kind of just fell into it?
Yeah, I kind of just fell into it. So there was nothing saying, yeah, I want to be a teacher. But I think it's kind of like, it's a rewarding career, and I enjoyed it. The main thing was that the hours suited me. You know, like I would be finished at 12 o'clock every day, so working from 8 to 12, so I had the afternoons free. So it was a type of job that supplemented my lifestyle. But I still heard a lot of teachers complaining that they've got lots of hours, and I was just lucky to not have so many hours, that I had a lot of free time with teaching as well.
A good balance of experiencing the lifestyle in a new country and actually having the teaching aspect to that as well.
Yeah, because I think I've looked at other jobs, you know, it requires you coming home at 8 o'clock at night. I have had teaching jobs where I was teaching at 8 o'clock at night, but when you're working for the schools, it's not going to happen because they finish at 3 o'clock. And if you teach the younger kids, they don't have English after lunchtime. So.
Good. Lauren, how did you find the transition into your first country? How did you adapt culturally and being so far away from home?
For me, adapting was okay because I came here with some friends and I had a job lined up. But I first came here to work as a snowboard instructor, but not teaching English. And I was lucky enough that I found a partner in Czech, so I was in love, so I wanted to stay. But there was a lot of cultural differences that were very difficult to accept and understand. It's very like much, this is what a female should do and this is what they shouldn't do. And I kind of didn't really fit into their box of how a female should be, like cook and clean the house and be there to serve the man and all that kind of stuff. So I still struggle with that kind of stuff today. But I think it was nice for me to be away from home. But I think the first year, I think I was talking a lot about home and missing home and wanting to go back home. And then I think after about 2 years being abroad, I went home. And then I started to miss Czech and my friends here. So it meant that I was always divided between the two anyway. There's nothing that I could do because when I was in Australia, I was missing here. Then when I was here, I'm missing Australia. But when I went back to Australia, nothing was the same as it used to be. And then when I came back to Czech, nothing was the same as it used to be either. So I was missing something that wasn't there. So it's just a mindset thing, and it's kind of difficult to get used to at first. So you can maybe get homesick, but then, yeah, if you go home and it's not the same, then that feeling can disappear.
What my experience is that it's not home that's changed, but me that's changed so much, and I can't relate to the old life and to the old, everyone just carrying on doing the same things that they've always done, and I'm so different now. So I think for me, it's difficult for me to kind of get back into that again.
Yeah, well, I think it's like, yeah, I would have changed a lot, but I think it was like coming from Australia when I went home, you know, like also going through that stage that, you know, all my friends were having kids, they'd all moved out of Sydney, they're all 3 to 5 hours from home. So the local people that I'd go and visit, they weren't there anymore. I was actually going to go back this year, and I called all my friends. My closest friend that lived in Sydney was 3 hours. The next one was 8 hours from Sydney. So I think there must be a lot of financial things that people can't afford to buy a house in Sydney, so they're all moving to the suburbs. So to go home and the idea of just to catch up with all my friends, it just wasn't possible. So.
Lauren, what was the biggest challenge that you faced as a new teacher, and how did you overcome it?
I think the biggest challenge I had was I had no experience going into it because I got a job saying no experience necessary. And I remember going out to this remote place in this little room under the stairs where they had decided that a bunch of parents wanted 4 or 6 kids together to learn English. So I'd meet them there, and all the kids didn't understand a word I was saying, and they'd start running away from me, and I'm like, I couldn't get them into the room. So I had a thought, okay, let's forget about what I have to teach them for English. Let's just turn this into a game. I realized that they'd been at school all day. All they wanted to do was play. So then we just started to play some games that weren't English related, just to build the relationship with them. So the first 2 sessions, I just played games, and I tried to, incorporate some English in there. So like if they're running and tagging each other, they'd have to say a verb or a noun or something. So I would just make up a game on the spot. And I think that's how I kind of built the relationship with them. And then eventually I got them inside to sit down and do a little bit of bookwork. So
I think that the problem is sometimes they don't actually give you that opportunity to connect with the students before you have to go in and teach. And that's so important, is to actually build up that relationship in your first couple of lessons with the students. It makes all the difference for your future teaching experience with them.
Yeah, I would say the most important thing, I think I was teaching at a private school last year, and I told them, I said, the first 3 to 4 weeks, I'm going to spend building a relationship with them. And they also had their criteria of what they wanted. They wanted testing to find reading levels and all this kind of stuff. But I kind of threw that stuff in between rapport building with the kids, making the rules and finding out the expectations of the kids and what they wanted, a bit of goal setting with them. It was fantastic. And then they had some kind of connection, and they were willing to do whatever I said from then on. So, yeah. And I think just learning the kids' names and knowing their names is so important, because when they hear their name, they're like, she likes me. And sometimes I think you get stuck like, yeah, what's his name? What's her name? And still today, I kind of forget some of the names, and I know how important it is. And I have to look up, okay, this is Lucy.
Lauren, what classroom management technique works best for you?
So let's say with the young kids, I think actually even with adults it works. My best classroom technique I would use is most probably formatting the lesson in a way where I'm conditioning the kids. So I will have the same format for every lesson. So I will start off like with 1 or 2 songs with, let's say, I start with a hello song. And once they learn that hello song, I change it to another kind of hello song. Like it's a good morning song, how are you, with a little bit more vocabulary for them to learn. So I'll start off with one song that teaches some vocabulary, the next song with some actions, and then we sit down, we do bookwork, and then we finish off with a game, and then I have like a clean-up song. So it kind of conditions them that I don't need to yell at them and say, let's clean up. As soon as they hear the song, they start packing up their books, and I don't need to tell them. So they know exactly what to do. And I could just start the song by accident, and they would just start singing away, and they'll start cleaning up. So I've done it once in the middle of a lesson. I played the clean-up song, and they're like, yeah, English is over. Because if they don't speak English, it gives them some kind of like, okay, I know what's happening next. We're going to sing 2 songs, we're going to sit down and do bookwork, and then we're going to have a game. So, and whatever bookwork you don't finish, you do for homework. So that's the format. So if they don't want homework, then they have to knuckle down and do the bookwork. So, and that works for me, and that's what I'm using now. And the conditioning, it's really easy for me as well. Sometimes a few lessons that I don't follow it, but that's because I've done something different and taken them outside or something like that and just played a game for the whole lesson. And they like it. So it's what really helps for me.
Right, yeah, routines are so important for children. That just helps them feel so secure and knowing what's going to be happening. And it's important for them to have that feeling of security through routine.
Because I thought there was once I was just doing one lesson in the afternoon for a grade 2 class, and it just happened to be spelling. And I realized that because I did the same thing once a week with them, they knew exactly what to do. I had no behavioral problems whatsoever. They knew exactly what they had to do, write out the spelling list. Then once they got the words, then we'd play a game, and then we'd do something. It was exactly the same every lesson. It was a different game, but it was still the same. And yeah, there was no behavioral problems at all, which was absolutely fantastic.
Great. Lauren, what is your go-to game or activity that never fails?
For the young ones, I would say Simon Says. The good old famous Simon Says. Mm-hmm. And I also like, there's another game that the kids really like that I play, is called Sharks Are Coming. So it's more about like integrating numbers. So I'll put on, what is it, like the song Baby Shark. For some reason the kids love Baby Shark. So they go around the classroom and I'll tell them to hop or swim or do something. And then I'll call out a number. Like I'll say, sharks are coming. Stop the music, say sharks are coming. And then the kids all stop and they say, how many? And then, so it's teaching them how much, how many. And then I will say 6. So they must get into groups of 6. And the ones left behind, I'm the shark, I'll go eat them and I'll put them in their seat. So they really like it. Even with adults, I would do the same, but I might not eat them. I might just gently ask them to have a seat. With the older kids, if they're learning bigger numbers, then I will say the sharks are coming. I'll be saying like 52 minus 31. And then they have to do the numbers that way. First, they need to recognize the numbers. And they seem to like that game as well. And they go crazy and run and make a lot of noise. And Simon Says is self-explanatory. I think everyone knows Simon Says.
And then, Lauren, the last question is, what is one piece of advice that you would give to a new teacher starting out?
I would say a simple, easy lesson plan is the best, because I think some of us think that it needs to be perfect and we overcomplicate things and we try to do too much in one lesson. So I think it's like just choose one aspect that you're going to learn, teach it, and then play a game. Just keep it simple, because I think when you try and make a perfect lesson, you throw too much in there and then it's too overwhelming and then you rush your lesson. So you just like, I'm going to do these 2 pages, and it just makes things more simple. So just focusing on one grammar point, or let's say we're doing numbers 1 to 10, just keeping it simple. So, as I say, keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid, yes. Lauren, I really appreciate your time and all the information that you've given. And it's so helpful for new teachers just to get a bit of experience and knowledge from other teachers' experience. So thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's not a problem. It's my pleasure.